With the spread of a very dangerous virus in Japan, the United Nations sent its leaders to eliminate this virus before it spreads to the whole world, but those leaders were treating people harshly, and they were also killing anyone who showed signs of the disease. And since then a group of people who call themselves the Dead began to free Japan from those people, and by coincidence they meet a student named Shu, an introverted young man living alone, so they grant him a great power called the Power of Kings, through which he can fight the system using the hearts of humans, in order to help them free Japan from its brutal oppressors. And one day, Shu is on his way to school, and he notices a group of soldiers spread throughout the entire city. So his friend tells him, "Did you not hear about what happened yesterday? It is said that there was a terrorist attack or something like that yesterday." And then Shu arrives at his school, so his friends Yahiro and Soda go to him. So he tells them, "I am sorry I did not manage to finish the competition video you wanted." So Soda replies, "But I did not come to ask you about it." So Shu asks him, "Then what do you want?" "Do not worry, I will finish the video on time." So Soda gets angry at him, but Yahiro pulls him and tells him there is no need, it is fine. So Hare, Shu's classmate, tells him, "You do not know how to deal with people at all." So Shu asks her why. "I am trying to be social as much as I can." So she replies, "You need to look for another way, and also try to understand people more." And after school ends, Shu walks alone, and while he is walking on the road, he thinks about the words of his classmate Hare, and asks himself, what should I do to understand people? It is true that my mind works differently than others, but in truth I cannot deal with people at all. I become confused and scared when I deal with them. And Shu also says, 10 years ago there were the beginnings of the spread of a dangerous virus in the country, and since then we have depended on aid from other countries, and until now we are still depending on them. We cannot tolerate the world that has come to control us. We cannot live like this forever. We must do something. After that Shu goes to his secret hideout, to sit alone away from the noise of the outside world, and he is surprised by the presence of the most famous singer of this era in his place. So Shu decides to get closer to her a bit without her noticing, but he bumps into a metal box and it makes a sound, so the singer's robot goes and hits Shu, and the singer moves back to hide from him, and she bumps into Shu's computer that is in the place, and suddenly a video of the city appears on it. So Shu gets confused, and tells her that he has not finished this video yet, but he is surprised by her reaction towards him, which admires him very much. So Shu hears the sound of her stomach and realizes how hungry she is, so he invites her to eat the food he has, and from here she gives him trust. And after a while Shu asks her, "Are you not Inori, the famous singer? What brought you here?" But she does not answer him and continues singing. So Shu asks her again, "I noticed blood when I entered the place. Are you injured?" So she replies, "I must return to Guy again." And Inori makes a shape with threads and gives it to him and asks him, "Are you a coward?" Shu is surprised and keeps staring at the shape she made, and suddenly he sees strange nightmares, so she wonders, and asks her what was that I saw, and suddenly the police enter on them. So Inori tries to escape quickly before being caught, but she cannot and she gets arrested, and a soldier comes and hits her to make her faint. So the officer asks Shu, "Are you a student?" So he replies, "Yes, and this girl is infected, so I hope you treat her well." So he tells him, "This girl is a criminal, and if you defend her I will kill you here as her accomplice." So Shu gets scared and kneels on the ground. So the officer laughs at him, and asks one of his soldiers what about checking her data. So he replies this girl turned out to be a member of the Dead group. So the officer goes and kicks her with his foot, and takes her with him to prison. After a while, Shu blames himself that he could not defend Inori, and Shu cries, and wishes he had taken the thread she made, and wishes even more that he had gotten closer to her and touched her hand, but Shu tries to comfort himself a bit, and suddenly Inori's robot goes to Shu and shows him a location on the map, and he remembers Inori's words that she wants to reach a person named Guy. So Shu asks him, "Do you really want me to go there?" And in the end he decides that he will go there and help Inori. And while he is walking, he says to himself, "This is my last chance, so I do not hate myself more than that." And after he arrives there he finds the place strange and empty. On the other side, Commander Kido stands in front of General Yan, and Yan tells him that, "I heard you sent forces to Roppongi City." So he replies, "Yes, because the matter is dangerous." So he tells him, "But you are creating hostility we do not need. If I were not confident in you, I would not have allowed this at all. And by the way, what is the danger of this stolen void genome?" So he replies, "This is classified information and I cannot tell you about it." So he replies, "Even if I am the supreme commander of the country." So he tells him, "Yes, but do not worry at all, my forces arrested the criminal who did that, and they are now searching for the stolen genome." At the same time, the officer who arrested Inori is trying to interrogate her, but she completely refuses to speak, so he tells her, "We have authority to eliminate the infected without warning. If you do not tell me where the void genome is, then we will simply destroy this whole district." But Inori still refuses to speak or say anything, so the officer carries out his threat, and orders all his forces to destroy the district. So the assistant goes to him and asks, "What will we do with the girl?" So he replies, "As soon as we start the attack, kill her." And we return to Shu again, and as soon as he reaches the place exactly he meets a group of thugs. So their leader goes to him and asks him, "Does the robot in your hand know how to cook?" So, Shu replies while confused, I do not think it can do something like that, so the man orders him to put the robot on the ground and leave and walk away, but Shu refuses, so that person hits him and asks him, are you mocking me? Hand over that robot to me immediately. So Shu apologizes to him, and tells him that this robot is not his, and he is trying with all his effort to protect that robot. And suddenly the spotlights turn on in the place, so they become very surprised, and a strange person approaches them, so those people wonder in shock, is that Guy? So the leader pulls out a knife and tries to stab him with it. But Guy blocks his strike and throws him far away, and he goes to the group and finishes them all one after the other, and the rest run away because of their fear of him. So Shu looks at him in amazement, and as soon as he looks to the other side, he is surprised by a girl named Tsugumi in front of him, who is responsible for information and hacking in the dead group, and she takes the robot from him. So Guy, who is the leader of the dead group, goes to him and asks him, are you not Shu? So Shu is very surprised how he knew his name, and Guy continues his words, so where is the girl who was with this robot? So Shu looks at the ground sadly. So Guy tells him, you abandoned her, did you not? And suddenly big explosions happen in front of them. So one of the people comes out and informs Guy that the government has started the attack. And on the other side, the government is destroying anything in front of them and killing people in large numbers. So Guy goes to Tsugumi and asks her, is there any news about Is and the others? But suddenly an enemy appears coming at them quickly. But Is jumps on it, and she fights with a giant robot, and destroys the robot coming at them. So Guy shouts at Shu, and tells him run quickly and protect that thing and do not abandon it like Inori. So Shu runs while not knowing what that thing is, and not even knowing what to do at all. So Is asks Tsugumi while she is moving with her robot, how many government robots will we face? So she replies, I still do not know, but they are very many. And suddenly Is crashes into one of those robots, so she is hurt badly, and launches missiles from her vehicle toward it, but that robot manages to avoid them, and those missiles hit the car that has Inori, so she gets up and escapes quickly. At the same time, Shu sees Inori as she is escaping in front of him, and suddenly two government robots appear in front of her, so Shu gets scared and steps back, but he decides that he will help her, and tells himself, do something useful in your life even for once, and he runs at maximum speed to catch up with her. So the defense robot aims toward Inori and fires at her, but Shu manages to save her at the last moment. And suddenly Shu opens his eyes and finds himself in a strange place, so Inori gives him the void genome and injects it into him, and tells him use me quickly, there is no time. So Shu sees the same nightmares again, and then Shu puts his hand into Inori's heart, and pulls out a giant sword from it, and asks himself what is happening, and at the same time a robot fires missiles at him, but Shu blocks them with the sword he has, and lunges at the robot and manages to destroy it, and then Shu catches his breath, and he cannot believe himself. So another robot comes and fires missiles at him from behind. But Shu panics and rises upward because of Inori's sword, and strikes those missiles with the sword and splits them into two halves, and the rest explodes in the air. So Shu gets thrown far away, but luckily the sword he has is also used for protection. So Guy orders one of his followers named Ogumo to finish off that robot, so Ogumo destroys the building so that it falls on the robot, and Shu gets up and takes the sword quickly and stabs it into it to destroy it completely. And he quickly goes to Inori, who is unconscious, and Shu is surprised when he sees the sword return to Inori's heart again. So he asks himself, what is this? So Inori's robot comes to him carrying a message from Guy, and tells him you have exactly 1 minute to take Inori and escape from this place. And on the other side, Is asks Tsugumi where is the next target. So she replies, the nearest target to you is far away from you. Withdraw now because you exerted a very big effort, and your robot will not endure more than that. But Is is surprised by a huge robot coming at her, and the person inside pulls out the weapon and strikes Is with it. So Is is badly affected, so Tsugumi is forced to get Is out of there. At the same time, the officer gets very angry, and cannot believe that there is a person who managed to destroy government robots, so his assistant replies the battle footage is very distorted, and we are not able to determine if it is really one person or not. So the officer gets furious and asks, how am I supposed to report this to the high officials? And on the other side, Guy meets with Shu and Inori again, and Guy receives a call from Is. And Is apologizes to him and tells him that she lost her machine, and that she bears all the responsibility for this loss. But she is surprised when Guy tells her that it is his fault, not hers, because he assigned her missions bigger than her abilities. Besides that, her machine is also an old model, and then he hangs up. So Inori asks him, did I complete my mission perfectly? So he replies, no, I am disappointed in you. So Inori becomes sad, so Shu speaks to defend her, and tells him I do not want to interfere. But Inori did a great job in the battle, and she was also hurt a lot. So he replies, I know that, but the most important thing to me is the results, and we did not achieve what was required because of her. She also made you use the void genome, and I was supposed to be the one to use it. So Shu is surprised and asks him, what is this void genome? So he replies, the disc that Inori gave you is one of the 3 genomes that were specially developed, and the power you take from it is called the power of the king. And this genome is implanted into human cells, and extracts hidden power from inside those cells, which makes you able to draw out the void, which comes in the form of different shapes and types of things existing inside a human. Like the sword you used, that was Inori's void, and every person has their own void. You are now in a position where you cannot retreat. From now on you must protect the lives of other people. You will fight with us from now on. So Shu tells him wait, this fast. So Guy goes to him and grabs him firmly, and tells him there are two ways you can choose from. Either you sit quietly and wait for your death, or you can change and become an extraordinary person and join us. And Guy throws him to the ground, and Shu sits shocked not knowing what to do. And suddenly Guy receives another call from one of his followers named Argo, and he informs him that the armed forces arrested 100 people in the area, and besides that the machine that destroyed IS's robot belongs to a person named Daryl, who is nicknamed the Undertaker, and he will be a big problem for us. After that Guy takes Inori and Shu and they go to the headquarters of the dead group, and Shibungi his assistant informs him that this has become an impossible mission, because the power gap between them and the government is huge, besides that the mission is not worth all this risk, but Guy refuses to withdraw, and speaks to the members of the dead group, and tells them we are close to eliminating the enemy forces, and rescuing the arrested people, and most importantly this operation will not be secret like the rest. From this moment we will announce our existence to the whole world. So all the members get excited and shout, but Shu is still shocked as he is, so Guy asks him and now what did you choose? And on the next day the group prepares their plan. And Shu and Inori sneak inside the pipes, and while they are walking they notice an opening in those pipes, and through it they see the government torturing the innocent people, and then they walk a bit, and they see a woman begging a soldier to leave her husband alone, because he is healthy and not infected with the disease. So that woman notices Lieutenant Daryl and goes to him quickly, and begs him as well. But Daryl gets very angry, and kicks her with his foot and beats her until she bleeds, and grabs his gun and shoots her with it, and orders the soldiers to also shoot the infected so they all die, and Shu is shocked by what he saw and cannot believe himself. At the same time Guy orders his group to fire the missiles, so the government tries to intercept them, but the missiles are more than necessary, so Daryl laughs like a madman, and quickly goes to ride his vehicle to attack the dead group, and goes after one of the group members who is Argo, whose mission is to draw all the robots away from the enemy site. Daryl keeps chasing him until he reaches a specific point, and before he strikes him with the robot he stops the attack, because the dead group aimed missiles at the base. So Guy contacts Officer Gwen, and informs him that he is the leader of the dead group, and orders him to release all the hostages, and if he does not do that he will fire all these missiles at him. So his assistant asks him what will we do now, so he replies we still have a winning card, and grabs the microphone and speaks to the dead group, and informs them that he will not surrender to terrorism, and also if they continue this attack, he will be forced to use the poison gas that they buried underground, and orders them to surrender immediately. And suddenly Guy appears to them openly, so Gin asks him where is the genetic weapon that you stole, so he replies I do not know anything by that name, so Gin orders the cannons to aim at Guy, and informs him that if he does not say where the weapon is within 10 seconds he will fire at him. At the same time Shu and Inori are monitoring the situation, and Inori says everything is going according to the plan, and now it is your turn. But Shu is very nervous, so Inori tells him do not worry you can do it, and takes his hand and puts it on her heart so he can draw her void, so Shu goes quickly and kills some soldiers, and heads toward Daryl and draws out his void, which is a weapon that creates a giant protective shield. And when Gen finishes counting and fires the missiles at Guy, he is surprised that there is a protective shield around the place, and when the missiles hit it they bounce back. So the whole place explodes, and Shu stands stunned by the explosions he saw, and after that they free the hostages, so Guy goes to Shu and praises him, and tells him you should be proud of yourself now, and extends his hand to shake his hand. And on the next day, Shu is sitting in his classroom feeling sad, and at the same time the teacher enters and tells the students that there is a new female student who joined our class, and the surprise is that this student is Inori, so Shu stands up shocked, and the students are amazed that the famous singer will be with them in the class. And after the lesson ends the students sit with Inori to get to know her. But Shu asks himself, I said that I would not join the dead group, so why did she come to my school? So Soda Shu's friend goes to Inori, and asks her do you like the dead group, because your songs resemble the actions of that group, but Yahiro intervenes before she answers, and orders the students to stop the questions for a bit, so she does not get annoyed. And at the end of the school day Shu rides the bus to go home, but he is lost in his thoughts, and when Shu arrives home he tells himself anyway I will try to avoid Inori and that is it. And suddenly Inori comes from behind him and opens his apartment door with her fingerprint, so Shu is shocked and does not understand anything. And when he enters the house he sees strange boxes, so he asks her what is this, but she leaves him and does not answer, so he asks her again how are you here, and how did you open my apartment in the first place? So she replies my robot is the one who did that. And on the other side, Commander Kido is standing in front of the officials, and General Yan asks him what are we going to do about what happened in the Roppongi area. So Kido replies do not worry at all, I will make Major Seaguy responsible for the dead group matter. So the officials ask him who is that, so he tells them that man is very strong, he hunts any prey he wants very easily, and tortures it until he gets what he wants. And at night Shu asks her what will I tell my mother when she comes and finds you here, so she replies Haruka your mother works in scientific research for the government, She comes home once every week, so he asks her, I want to know what are you doing here? So she tells him to protect you, so Shu is surprised, and suddenly the doorbell rings, so Shu goes to open it, and it is his friend Yairo who came to give him a movie tape. And Yahiro tells him, by the way, why were you acting strangely today? And Yahiro is surprised when he finds Inori coming out of Shu's house, and Inori tells Shu that she received an important message and he must go with her. So Shu becomes very embarrassed in front of Yairo and says goodbye quickly and leaves with Inori. After that, Inori takes Shu and they go to meet Guy, so Shu asks him, why did you send Inori to my school and also to live with me? So he replies, there is a big problem. Someone saw us in the Roppongi battle. If he was someone from the area we would have dealt with him. But he seems to be from outside the area, and what we found out is that he is a student in your school. He was there at that time because he was selling some kinds of drugs, and there is a possibility that he might have seen you and Inori in the battle. You must search for that person. So Shu asks him, do you know how many people are in my school? So he replies, you will recognize that person by his void. I taught Inori the shape of his void, and it is a pair of scissors, and if you want to live without harm, protect your life by yourself. And on the next day, Shu tries to extract the voids of the students to know who the person is that saw them, and he starts with Sauda, but he is not the person who saw them. So Shu admires his power very much and starts searching through all the students, and after a lot of searching, Shu does not reach the required person. So Shu rests a bit to continue later, and asks Inori, what is this void, and why are its shapes strange among people? So she replies, this void is the things that the person fears that are engraved in his heart. And after a while, Shu goes and meets Yahiro, but he is very exhausted, and while he is talking to him, Shu realizes that he is the person who saw them, and Shu confronts him with the truth, so Yahiro gets very angry at him, and grabs him tightly and shouts at him, so Shu pulls the void out of him. And suddenly Inori raises her gun toward Yahiro to kill him, so Shu stops her and tells her do not do that, so she asks him why. Guy told us that this person is a source of threat to us. If we do not eliminate him, he will cause us great harm. So Shu shouts and orders her to lower the weapon, and tells her he is still my friend after all, and Inori actually listens to his words. And after that, Shu makes a deal with Yahiro, which is that Yairo will not tell anyone that Shu is from the dead group, and Shu will not tell anyone that Yahiro sells drugs. And on the next day, Shu rides the train on his way to school, and while he is talking with Inori, he notices that there are many soldiers standing, and suddenly Yahiro pushes him out of the train toward the soldiers and apologizes to him. So Shu looks at him, unable to believe what his friend did to him, so Major Seaguy goes to him, and tells him you are under arrest. So Inori looks at him sadly, and tries to stop the train using the emergency brakes, but someone comes from behind her and stops her, and tells her that these are Guy's orders. After a while, Shu rides in the car with Seaguy and they head toward the prison, and he is very sad and keeps thinking about his friend's betrayal. And Seaguy tells him, I want you to help me so we solve a mystery together. That is why I prepared a small room for you so you can think calmly, and you will stay with us until you solve this mystery. After that, Seaguy calls Commander Kido and informs him that he arrested Shu, the son of Dr. Haruka, so he asks him what is your impression of him. So he replies, I am sure he has a connection to the dead group, but every time I interrogate him he refuses to talk, so Kido informs him that they received a message from Guy, and Kido shows him the message, and Guy says in it the dead group will attack the isolation building tomorrow to save our friend, so Seaguy is surprised, and asks himself why did he inform us that he will attack us beforehand. After that, Seaguy meets Shu, and tells him the circumstances have changed now, I will tell you everything, and Seaguy takes Shu and they ride the car and go to the isolation building, and when they arrive Seaguy asks him while they are walking, you want to know why your friend Yahiro betrayed you, right? Your friend was in the besieged Roppongi area to sell drugs, because as you know he desperately needs money, because of his brother who is infected with the virus. So Shu sees a place with many people infected with the disease, and notices Yahiro sitting with his younger brother, and the disease is spread throughout his body. So Seaguy asks him, this is the first time you see something like this, right? This is what the virus looks like when it reaches the 4th stage, and in this building we try to take care of patients in these advanced stages, after their bodies rejected the vaccine and the disease spread inside them. 10 years ago this virus spread, and with its spread fear and violence began throughout the country, and this led to very great chaos, so we intervened and managed to control this epidemic, after we used the vaccine that we developed, and we also managed to restore order to the country again, so I cannot forgive the dead group, because they are trying to destroy the system that saved our lives. I still until now do not understand why a smart person like you doubts us. So he replies to him, I saw you killing innocent people with my own eyes. So he tells him the people you are talking about refused to take our vaccine. So Shu asks him angrily, does that give you the right to kill them? So he replies, our soldiers were also killed in the battle, and they also have lives and families too. So Shu tells him, but Guy told me that we are saving people this way. So Seaguy asks him then why is he trying to free the dangerous criminal named Kenji, so Shu is surprised. So he shows him a picture of the criminal and continues his words, Guy sent us a message that he will rescue this criminal by force, and they are coming for him, not for you. So Shu becomes sad, so Seaguy takes out a small device like a pen and tells him this device sends signals. As soon as you are with Guy, press the blue button twice, and then the red button once, and we will come quickly and arrest him, so Shu is shocked. At the same time, Inori is sitting sadly in Shu's secret place, specifically in front of his computer, and watches the video he made, while she sings her famous song, and remembers her moments with him and asks herself, I wonder how Shu is doing now. And at night, Shu is sitting sadly and thinking about the words Guy told him, and suddenly a soldier enters and informs him that the lawyer wants to see him. So Shu is surprised, but goes with him, and is shocked when he sees Guy disguised in the lawyer's outfit. And on the other side, Tsugumi tries to hack the surveillance cameras so no one hears or sees Guy while he talks to Shu, and after she finishes, she gives Guy permission to speak freely. So Shu asks him, what are you doing here now? So he replies, there is a certain person imprisoned here, and we came to get him out of his prison. So Shu asks him, you mean the criminal Kenji, right? So he replies, correct. The whole group is preparing for the attack now, and Kenji is located in the underground isolation building. As soon as you get out of here, draw out his void. So Shu cuts him off and tells him angrily, do not think I will listen to you this time. I am not one of your followers. So Guy asks him, did anyone tell you something about me? So Shu becomes sad, and asks him, why are you fighting the system? You did not tell me anything until now. And suddenly the lights go out in the place, and Guy orders his followers to begin the operation. And suddenly several explosions occur in the building, and missiles are fired everywhere, and Ayas prepares with her robot, and at the same time Guy is monitoring the situation, and asks Shu for the last time, there is no time, you must tell me, will you move or will you stay in your place like every time? But Shu is confused and does not know what to do. So Inori talks to Shu through the communication device with Guy, and tells him that she is coming to him specifically. So Guy angrily tells her, I ordered you to stay in your place. Why are you doing this? So Tsugumi informs Guy that Inori infiltrated the building alone, and she wants to save him by any means. She also turned off her communication device, and we cannot talk to her. And suddenly a soldier enters to Shu and tells him the meeting is over and you must return to your room again. But Shu hits him and escapes quickly. And another soldier raises his weapon at Guy. But Guy turns quickly and flips him to the ground, and speaks to his assistant Shibunji, and tells him the plan has changed, I will go rescue Kenji myself. So he replies that is very reckless, but Guy does not care about his words, and orders Ayas to go help Inori and Shu escape. And on the other side there are two soldiers moving Kenji's location so no one can reach him, but Tsugumi is monitoring the situation, and informs Guy that they moved his location. At the same time, Shu tries to escape from that place quickly. But one of the government robots grabs him, but Ayas quickly catches up and destroys the robot, and asks Shu angrily, what did you do to Inori? But Shu does not understand anything, so Ayas continues her words, you must have done something because she would not disobey Guy's orders on her own, you ruined the whole mission. If anything happens to Guy, I will kill you. After that she takes him and they escape quickly, but they encounter many robots on the way, so Ayas tells Shu, run quickly and I will catch up to you. And while he is running, the two soldiers holding Kenji are moving on the floor above him, so Guy fires a shell at them to destroy the path. So Kenji falls from above and lands in front of Shu. So Shu looks into his eyes, and runs quickly toward him and uses his void, which is a gun, so Shu shoots the robot coming at him with it. But it does not get destroyed and flies into the air, so Shu realizes that this gun manipulates gravity. But unfortunately Shu gets surrounded from everywhere, and suddenly Inori jumps toward him from the top of the building and calls out to him. So Shu runs quickly and shoots the gun beneath him, to reduce his gravity and reach Inori easily, and as soon as he reaches her he uses her void. At the same time there is a soldier holding a sniper and aiming it at Inori and Shu, but Sagai appears behind him and tells him do not interfere, and shoots him with his gun and kills him, and Sagai watches Shu as he draws the void from Inori in amazement, and then Shu takes the sword and destroys all the robots, and also destroys the building with a single strike. After a while, Shu comes out from between the rubble carrying Inori, and suddenly Guy shines a flashlight on him, so Shu tells him if you want Kenji then he is with you. So Guy asks him now what will you do, will you be with us, or not? If you cannot decide then trust me, just follow my orders. So Shu agrees in the end, and after Guy leaves, Shu takes out the device he took from Guy and looks at it. And while Shu is walking with Guy and the rest, he remembers Guy's words about the device, and he arrives with them at their headquarters, and after a while Guy asks Shibunji, how is Kenji doing now? So he replies he has been asleep since then. I do not know if that is because Shu pulled his void or for another reason, but he is not responding at all. After that Guy starts introducing Shu to all the group members, and informs them that they will rely on Shu in future plans from now on, but Shu notices that all the members are not happy with that decision. And Guy continues his words, since we retrieved Kenji and Shu joined us, then we will be able to achieve the greatest goal in our history, which is controlling the leukocyte, which is a deadly weapon owned by the government, and Guy shows them how the plan will proceed. So Argo asks Guy, when exactly will we start the operation? So he replies within 3 days, so the whole group is surprised. So Shibunji says only 1 day has passed since we attacked the isolation building. This could cause us exhaustion, so he replies then why did you come here? Anyone who feels tired should leave immediately, and Guy orders Ayas to train Shu so he will be ready for the mission, because he will be a burden on them at that time. After Guy leaves, Shu goes to Is and tells her there is no need for you to worry about me. I do not want to tire a girl sitting on a wheelchair, So she replies you are very kind, and goes toward him and greets him, and as soon as he extends his hand, Is grabs him and flips him to the ground, and his device falls from him, and she tells him this chair is part of my personality, I do not want your sympathy, so Shu faints. When Shu wakes up he finds himself in a strange room, so he gets up quickly to look for his device, and suddenly Is enters and tells him that it is time for his training, and after that Shu prepares and goes with her, and tells her that he does not need this training, so she replies I personally do not want to train you, but these are Guy's orders, and while she is talking to him, Shu notices his device in her hand, so he asks her where did you get that device from? So she replies I found it lying around. Do not tell me it is yours, so he tells her yes it is mine, and I want it now, so she tells him no, but wait I have an idea, we will test you over a week to know whether you deserve to be with us or not, and if you succeed in the tests I will give it back to you. After that his first test begins with Argo, and Argo gives him a knife, and tells him come attack me like you want to kill me, but Shu is surprised that he gives him a real knife. So he replies joining the dead group is a great matter, so you must be ready for anything, and Argo lunges at him and strikes him with the knife. But he intentionally does not hurt him. But Shu faints and fails that test. After that he goes to Tsugumi so she can test him in fitness, but she finds him very exhausted after a short time, and after several tests, Shu fails all of them. And on the other side, Commander Kido is standing with Sagai, and tells him the leukocyte plan is going perfectly. By the way, what is the news of the boy you planted among the dead group? So he replies I am still not sure, the chance he will use the device is 50%. At night Shu walks alone in the group headquarters, and tells himself I am making a big effort as if I will join them, and suddenly he hears a singing voice coming from afar, and when he follows the sound, he finds Inori sitting alone singing, and he waits until she finishes, and after she finishes he goes and sits with her, and tells her when I saw you just now I felt the same feeling as when I met you the first time, by the way why did you join the dead group? But she replies with another question, why did you come here? So he replies while remembering their memories together, because I feel happy when I am with you, and I was happier when you came to save me specifically. So Inori stays silent for a while, and Shu suggests that they leave the dead group together, and he gets closer and tries to touch her hand. But she pulls her hand away and stands up quickly, and tells him Guy is the one who created me and defined my personality, he is the one who gave me a new life, I cannot leave him and go, so he replies even if I told you that I will stay by your side forever. And suddenly Shu realizes the bitter truth, that Guy is the one who ordered Inori to do all these actions so he would join them. So Inori walks away quickly, and tells him do not get too close to me, so Shu calls out to her and follows her, and he is shocked when he sees her going with Guy. So Shu steps 2 steps back and becomes very sad, and after that he runs quickly toward his room, and asks himself why does everyone love Guy so much, and while he is running he bumps into Is, so Shu apologizes to her, so she asks him you like Inori right, so he replies I do not understand anything, why does everyone here love Guy even though he is very arrogant, or is that because I am just a boy with no importance, so Is puts her hand on him to comfort him, and tells him tomorrow will be your last challenge, you must win tomorrow to join us, and if you win you will gain the respect of everyone here. So Shu stands up and moves her chair closer, and goes to help her get onto it, but she refuses his help, and tells him that she likes to rely on herself, and also does not like anyone seeing her while she crawls to the chair, and asks him to leave so he does not see her, so Shu smiles and greets her and leaves. The next day, Guy is in some area, and one of the members informs him that there is a squad coming toward them, so Guy takes out the binoculars, and sees that there are 3 aircraft loaded with government robots and soldiers coming toward him. On the other side, it is Shu's last training, which is that he will face Is's robot alone, and Is tells him if you manage to pass me and reach the car behind me then you win. But the rest of the group members had lost hope in Shu, and Argo says I cannot even stand against Is's robot, it is impossible for Shu to win. As soon as the battle begins Shu gets scared and runs away from Is's robot, and Shu tries to hide from her and shoot at her with the color gun he has, but Is tells him your escape method is very stupid, if you continue like this you will lose easily, and while Shu is running from her he crashes into Argo, and a brilliant idea comes to his mind, which is to pull Argo's void, and indeed he drops the weapon from his hand and takes Argo's void. He aims at Is and shoots at her, and creates a giant black sphere and traps her inside it, and runs quickly toward the car and gets inside it, and thus Shu wins the race, so all the group members are surprised by him and his intelligence, and they start clapping and cheering for him, so Shu becomes very happy, and goes to Is and apologizes to her because he cheated in the battle, so she replies no problem. You used part of your skill in the end. Shibungi goes to him with all the group members, and they welcome him officially into their group. So Is gives him his device that she promised he would take if he won, so Shu takes it from her and looks at it hesitantly, and suddenly Tsugumi rushes in and tells them a disaster has just happened. The government struck the leukocyte at the place where Guy is, so they are all shocked, and Tsugumi shows them the scale of destruction that happened to the area, so they all worry about Guy in case something happened to him. And on the other side, Commander Kido is in his office, and one of his followers informs him that they only fired 3% of the leukocyte power, but the destruction rate was 110%, so Kido says I am on my way to destroy the dead group entirely, and the scale of destruction caused by that weapon appears. At the same time, Shibunji tells the dead group the leukocyte consists of 3 satellites, and once it is completed it will cover all of Japan, and they will be able to strike any target at any time. So Shu asks why would they build such a deadly weapon, and suddenly Guy replies to him in order to eliminate the entire Japanese population. They are all shocked, and Tsugumi asks him are you okay, so he replies I have minor scratches only, but the battalion that was with me all died. So Shibunge asks him are we supposed to take some time to see what we will do, so he replies no, there is no more time to waste, we will start our operation on schedule. After that, Guy returns to them again and gathers them to explain the plan to destroy the leukocyte and tells them our target in the operation is the leukocyte control core under the government building. Our mission is to infiltrate it and stop it. And he calls Kenji to show them images of this core, so Kenji shows them a video on the leukocyte device and its core, and informs them that in order to send signals to the leukocyte device to stop operating, we must remove the core without touching it or destroying it. The group members are very surprised, and ask themselves how will we do that, so Guy tells them and here comes the role of Kenji and Shu. Shu will pull Kenji's void, because Kenji's void is able to manipulate gravity. So Shibungi replies to him but we lost many soldiers and equipment, so Guy tells them I have a new plan if something happens, we may lose 35% of the personnel in this operation, but in the end we will succeed. Shu objects to him, and tells him so you mean 1 out of every 3 will die, I do not agree to this, if someone dies and I fail the mission he would have died for nothing, so Guy informs him that he will bear full responsibility, so Shu objects again, and tells him what about the people who died with you, will you bear their responsibility too, I am withdrawing from this operation. Argo stands up and fights with him, and grabs him to hit him, but he leaves him in the end, so Shu takes himself and leaves in front of them, so Shibunge asks Guy what will we do now, but Guy sticks to his position and informs them that the plan will not change. After a while Shu is sitting alone and looking at his device, so Inori goes to him to talk to him, but Shu is angry and not interested in her, but she gets closer to him and tells him I want you to do what I will tell you, so Shu is surprised. At the same time Commander Kido talks with Seaguy, and tells him the leukocyte will be in position within 4 hours, we must be ready at that time, so he replies unfortunately the dead group will attack us within 2 hours and a quarter from now, so he asks him do you have a source for this information? So he replies no, but I expect they will do that, and after Seaguy ends the call with him, he says to himself Shu what will you choose? On the other side, Shu enters on Guy while he is being treated, so Guy tells him after the leukocyte attack on us, my assistant was still alive, she was still smiling, she was happy because I was safe, she was happy because she died in my place, so I started asking myself do I deserve these sacrifices, I was wrong for letting them trust me. But suddenly Shu goes to him and hits him, but Guy grabs his hand and throws him away, so Shu gets close to him again, so Guy hits him in the face, so Shu gets very angry, and hits him in the face with full force, so Guy asks him do you think I will bear responsibility for all these people and not feel pain, and in the end Shu tells him that he will also help him. After that the group goes to the core location, and after Guy monitors the situation, he gives the signal to the group to start the operation, so Argo moves with his car toward them, and the group members fire bullets at the soldiers, so Segai orders his assistant to send their robots there. Daryl goes and attacks one of the dead group vehicles and destroys it, so Ias goes and clashes with him, but Daryl attacks her with full force, but one of the members saves her with a missile from afar. On the other side, Guy and the group members storm the government building, and suddenly a group of soldiers approaches them, so Guy orders Inori to deal with them until they enter the core, so Inori pulls out her gun and kills the soldiers with high skill, so Shu is very surprised by her, so Kenji tells Shu we have no time for this talk, come quickly and take my void. After a while, Shu goes to the core room holding Kenji's void, so Guy tells him strike carefully in the middle of the core, and once it stops spinning, Inori's robot will be able to stop the leukocyte, and indeed Shu strikes the core and it stops spinning, but suddenly Daryl attacks them with his robot, so Guy tells Shu stay in place and do not move and I will deal with him. Guy runs toward him, throws a flash grenade at him and jumps over him, and Guy pulls out the gun and shoots him, but Daryl fires bullets everywhere, and unfortunately the bullets hit the core, and Guy manages to destroy his robot but after the core was affected, and suddenly electromagnetic waves are released from the core and disable all signals in the city, so Tsugumi tells Guy a disaster happened, leukocyte number 1 left its orbit and is heading toward Earth. At this rate it will collide with Tokyo with full payload. After a while Guy asks Shu for the device he has, so Shu is surprised and gives it to him, and suddenly Seaguy appears in front of them, so Guy tells him I will make a deal with you, I will use this device to destroy the leukocyte, in return you will erase all Shu's data that you collected about him, so Seaguy agrees, but Shu stands shocked and not understanding anything. We learn that the device Seaguy gave him is a signal transmitter for the satellite, which in turn will send a signal to the leukocyte to strike toward them quickly. So Guy says if we can align the device and the leukocyte and the satellite that will receive the signal on one line, we will be able to destroy the leukocyte without any losses, so Shu says but then someone must sacrifice himself. After that Guy stands in the place where he will receive the leukocyte strike, so Shu asks himself sadly are you going to stand like that and do nothing, and suddenly Inori stands behind him, and asks him do you want to save him Shu, so Shu nods yes so Inori pulls out her special void so Shu can take it. while Guy is standing waiting for the leukocyte, and asks himself, so I will sacrifice myself this time, and pulls out the device to use it, but suddenly Shu calls out to him holding a giant weapon, so Guy asks him where did you get this void from, so he replies Inori told me to use it. Guy asks Tsugumi quickly how much time is left until they are aligned, so she tells him exactly 30 seconds, and after a while Tsugumi gives Shu permission to fire his weapon, so Shu prepares and fires a very powerful beam, and manages to destroy the leukocyte outside Earth's sphere, so signals return everywhere. After a while, Inori opens her eyes, and finds Guy and Shu talking together, and after that they greet each other. After a period of time, Shu finally goes to his school, but he is a little afraid of the students' words, and indeed as soon as he arrives at school he hears some students talking about him, so Inori thinks about stepping in to stop that talk, but Shu grabs her hand and tells her let us go, and suddenly the student council president Arisa appears, and hits one of the students with a pen, and tells him that it is shameful for someone at school to talk about his classmate like that, so Shu is very surprised by her behavior. After a while, Shu enters his classroom, but he feels shy in front of the students, so the class president enters after him, and asks him in front of them did the police officers treat you well, so Shu is surprised by her, and at the same time the students are shocked, and the class president Arisa continues her words, surely it is hard for the police to interrogate you, but we must cooperate with the government, right? I am sure some people spread bad rumors about you. Suddenly his friend Sauda runs to him, and he is happy because Shu finally returned, and asks him warmly how did it feel when you were being interrogated, and did they really serve good food? So all the students start asking questions about the government and the period he spent there, so Shu thanks Arisa for what she did for him, and that she pushed away the students' talk from him. After school ends he goes home with Inori, and Shu asks her do you not know where Yahiro is, I heard he has not come to school since I was arrested. So she replies are you worried about him even though he betrayed you? And suddenly Shu hears his mother calling him. So Shu quickly tries to hide Inori so she does not see her, but he fails and his mother goes to her to greet her. On the other side Ayas asks Guy why did you allow Shu to return to school again? So he replies he will be excellent bait for us, besides Inori is with him, so Shibungji informs Guy that their equipment is almost finished and they need new equipment, so Guy says we must look for a partner. At night one of the officials stands in front of Seaguy and Daryl and their assistant, and tells them we will target a party on a ship at sea, because its owner is against the government system. He is certainly planning to make an important deal against us, so Seaguy asks him, where did you get this information from? So he replies a righteous citizen reported them. At the same time Shu and Guy are on that ship to meet their partner, and while they are disguised as the ship crew, Guy asks Shu are you nervous? So he replies yes of course, you surprised me with this mission. By the way what is the mission you brought me for? So Guy tells him there is an important person I want to meet. After that Shu goes up on the ship, but he is surprised to find his mother sitting with the ship owner, so he is very shocked and starts running away, and while he is running he bumps into Arisa, who is present because her grandfather is the ship owner, so Arisa is surprised by him, and asks him what brought you here, so Shu tries to escape from her, but she runs after him to understand what brought him to their ship, so Shu goes to Guy to try to delay Arisa a little, so Guy stands in front of her, so she asks him what do you want, so Guy looks closely at her, and tells her I am sorry I thought you were someone I know. On the other side, the government prepares to strike the ship, and they prepare a very large number of missiles, so Tsugumi calls Shu to inform him of this disaster, and tells him inform Guy that the government is preparing to strike the ship with missiles, so Shu looks at his mother and realizes she could be harmed if she stays here, and Tsugumi continues her talk you must escape you and Guy quickly, so Shu refuses, and tells her that all the people here will die if they do that, so Inori asks him then what will you do? So he replies I will find a solution with Guy. At the same time, Guy is standing in front of the ship owner whose name is Cohen, so Cohen tells him I am sure I did not send you an invitation. So Guy gives him a communication device, and tells him I want to make a big deal with you, and suddenly Shu calls out to Guy, so Guy excuses himself and goes to see Shu, so Shu informs him that the government will strike missiles at the ship, so Guy orders him to go up to the ship deck and wait for him. At that very moment the government fires the missiles at them, so Guy quickly goes to Arisa and takes her to the ship deck, so she asks him why did you bring me here, and in this way too, so Guy tells her close your eyes, I will cast a spell on you now, I will make you see your true self right now. Arisa closes her eyes, and when she opens them she finds Shu in front of her pulling her void, which is a giant shield, and Shu manages to destroy the first government missiles successfully, so the official in charge of this mission orders them to launch all missiles toward them, so Shugumi informs them that the government sent many missiles toward them, so Shu uses Arisa's shield again to block the rest, and Shu manages to destroy all the missiles very easily. After that Kohen calls Shibungi, and tells him I know you can stop the second leukocyte, so that is why I will make the deal with you. So Shibunji thanks him and ends the call, and informs the group members that the deal is finally done, so all the members rejoice, so Tsujumi asks how did the government know about this ship, so Shibungi replies while smiling a righteous citizen reported it. And on the next day Shu prepares his bag, so his mother asks him where are you going? So he replies I told you before that I am going on a school trip, I will not be at home for a while, so she asks are you going to your father right? So he replies I might go visit him as well. After that, Shu and his friends arrive at the trip place, and Shu has made them understand that they will stay at his family house, and we learn that Shu went on this trip because of Guy orders, who told him that he needs void soda in that place in order to hack the security system there, and he asks him to invite him on a trip so they can carry out their mission. And after a while they arrive at the house they will stay in. So Shu friends are amazed by the beauty of the house, and they ask him, what do your parents work as? So Shu leans toward Inori and asks her, what is this house? So she replies, Kyuhin donated this house to us. So Soda tells them, come on, let's go to the sea because there is no time to waste, and after that they go enjoy their time a bit at the sea, but Shu is a bit upset, because he knows that there is a dangerous mission. And also he is required to deal with his closest friend that he cannot deal with. And on the other side, Shibungi is sitting with the group members, so Shibungi says good that Soda arrived here without problems, so he replies, I wonder what is on this island that makes Guy bring us here. So he tells him Guy is the only one who knows. After that Shu goes to visit his father Grave who died, so Guy comes into him, and tells him your father was an expert in the virus field that came upon us, so Shu is very surprised, so Guy asks him you did not know anything about him. So he replies we did not talk much at home, all I heard was that he was teaching my mother, anyway I do not remember my father much, because he died about 10 years ago in the National Day incident, by the way what are you doing here? So Guy takes Shu and points to a far place, and gives him a camera that sees infrared rays, and tells him that place is a secret government facility and I want what is inside it. So Shu asks him what is it that you want? So he replies the rock that started everything, but Shu does not understand anything, so Guy continues his talk, anyway you will lure Soda to the place we agreed on, and after that you will pull his void. So Shu tells him the matter is not that easy by the way, so Guy replies all you have to do is use the bait. I heard that he loves Inori very much, so Shu gets angry, and asks him you want me to use Inori as bait. So he tells him and why not, we want to finish the mission safely, and this is the simplest solution available, if you cannot do that go sleep in your bed. And at night, Shu is sitting with Soda, and he asks him Soda is it really that there is nothing between you and Inori? So Shu holds himself, and tells him I told you before there is nothing. So he replies as long as there is nothing between you I will go confess my love to her. So Shu gets angry inside, but he goes and puts his hand on him, and asks him what do you think of telling her today? And after that Shu goes quickly to Inori, and tells her that Soda will meet her at night as the plan goes. After a while Soda goes to meet Inori, and at the same time Shu watches them from afar, and tells himself there is no problem if I leave them alone, and he keeps following them wherever they go, so Soda takes Inori and they sit together, and he shows her a video he made especially for her, so Shu gets very annoyed, but he tells himself surely Inori will not care about him, but he is surprised when he hears Inori telling Soda that the video is beautiful. Suddenly Soda stands up from his place, and tells Inori I may not know you well, but every time you sing you move my feelings, and before Soda confesses his love to her, Shu appears in front of them, so Soda asks him what are you doing here, so Shu runs to him quickly and pulls his void from him. Suddenly Argo tells him from behind, what is this you did? Why did you pull his void here? So Shu is very surprised, and asks him since when are you here, and after that the group members appear one after another, so Shibungi asks Guy what will we do now? So he replies we will not change the plan, we will go now to the gate. After a while they go to the gate place, and Shu takes out Soda Void and strikes it on it, so the gate opens in seconds, and at the same time, Leader Kido goes to the secret facility, but he is disguised, so the soldier there stops him, but he quickly discovers that he is Kido, but Kido pulls out the gun and kills him with it, because he does not want anyone to know that he is here, and he enters the facility with Shu father card. Suddenly the alarms ring in the place where Shu and Guy are, so Shu says it seems they found out that we are here, so Guy replies no this is not ours, so Shu hits the gate with the void that was about to close on them. So Guy orders them to move quickly, and suddenly a soldier appears behind them and was gonna shoot Shu, but Inori pulls out her gun and shoots him. But at the same time, Kido reaches the secret room first, and opens the secret door and takes the rock, and after a while Guy and the rest reach the secret room, and when Shu uses Soda Void and opens the secret door they do not find the rock, so Guy gets very angry, and pulls out his gun and shoots the screen there, and tells himself surely Kido is the one who took it, and at the same time Kido is holding the rock in his hand and standing in front of Shu Father Grave, and tells him I will not stop what I am doing. And on the next day, Soda wakes up from sleep, so Shu who is standing next to him asks are you okay? So Soda asks worried then where is Inori? So Shu replies she probably already left, so Soda feels that something is wrong and asks him what happened. So Shu tells him I will not help you again, so Soda is shocked, and tells him as I expected you loved Inori in the end, and Soda gets angry and continues his talk, if you love her why did you not tell me from the beginning? So Shu gets angry too, and tells him you are very reckless and you do not care about those around you. I face difficulty dealing with you, and Shu tells himself he probably hates me now but it is okay. I should have told him that a long time ago, but Shu is surprised by Soda reaction, who tells him I knew from the beginning, I am happy that you told me the truth, I also cannot deal with you at all, does this mean you opened your heart to me? So Shu smiles. After that Shu goes to talk with Inori while they are returning to their city again, and tells her I know that it is late, but what is this void? I still did not understand it well, so Guy replies to him. Guy told me that void changes according to the state of people's hearts, so Shu asks himself, does that mean if I get involved with someone my power will change? On the other side, Yahiro enters his house and finds his brother lying on the ground, because he is trying to reach his knife, so he lifts him quickly and asks him what is wrong. But suddenly Yahiro hears a noise from downstairs, and Guy is there with a group of soldiers coming to kill his brother, because he escaped from the isolation building during the Undertaker's attack to free Shu and Kenji. But as soon as they go up to the room they find that he jumped from the window. At the same time, Kido and Haruka Shu mother stand in front of Yan, and they tell Yan someone entered the secret area using Shu father card and stole the rock from it. Do you have any explanation for this, since you were his closest friend? And Haruka is standing shocked by what she heard, because she suspected Shu. After a while, Shu is returning home from school, and he was taking his friend Hare with him on the way. And while they are standing talking, there is a person running fast and entering the train to escape from a gang. And drugs pills fall from him as well, and the surprise is that this person is Yahiro, so Shu calls him, and asks him what is your explanation for what you did to me. So Yahiro replies sarcastically, do you want me to say everything here? So Shu tells Hare, go by yourself this time, because there is important talk I want to have with Yahiro, and at the same time, Sagai is watching Shu, and says the best decision I made is that I keep watching you. After that Shu goes with Yahiro to understand from him why he betrayed him, and where he disappeared all this time, so Yahiro tells him the government told me that they will kill my brother. That is why we took advantage of what happened that day and escaped quickly. Go ahead, laugh at me because I betrayed you to reach that place. And after that I escaped from it, and at the same time Hare is walking behind them watching them. After a while Yahiro takes Shu and they go to the place where they are living currently. And as soon as Yahiro enters to his brother he finds him lying on the ground like every time. And as soon as his brother sees Shu he gets scared of him, so Yahiro reassures him, and tells him that this is his friend. And on the other side, the government is watching all their movements, and they plan that they will attack them tonight with all their power. And at night, Yahiro asks Shu for some money, so they can eat and find a place to live in, so Shu asks him, did you make me come here and see your brother for that, so I would feel sorry? So Yahiro begs him, and tells him I am the only one who can protect him now. So Shu calls Is and asks her where is Guy. So she replies he is not here, he just left a little while ago, why do you want him? So Shu tells her there is a person I want to hide with us, the virus is spread in his body. So she replies wait, we must inform Shibunji first, and after that we will tell you if it is okay or not. So Shu tells her I will send you the place where we will be, meet us there after an hour. And after Shu ends the call, he tells Yahiro this does not mean that I forgave you, but your brother has no fault. After that Shu starts the escape process, but on the other side Sagai is watching them, and prepared soldiers and also government robots, and as soon as Shu and Yahiro start moving, Sagai orders the soldiers to shoot at them, but they miss the aim, so Shu is surprised, and asks how did they know our place. So Yahiro tells him there is no time for that talk, come on let's escape quickly. And while they are running, Yahiro notices a car, so he suggests to Shu that they ride it and escape, but Shu stops him, and tells him surely they opened an escape route for us so they can catch us easily. And if you keep thinking like stupid people like that you will die. And Shu gets close to him to pull his void and fight with it. But Yahiro holds his hand and pushes him away, and asks him what do you want to do exactly. So he replies I have the ability to pull people's hearts and fight with them, I can even defeat government robots. So Yahiro asks him are you sure that you did not inform the government about us so they can arrest us? So Shu tells him shut up you traitor, I would never betray people like you or abandon them. I will make sure your brother escapes as I promised you, nothing more. All you have to do is shut up and let me use you, and Shu jumps on him and pulls his void from him. But Yahiro brother gets scared when he sees Shu pulling the void, and tries to escape, so Shu goes to him and tells him that his brother is fine and has nothing wrong, and suddenly Daryl destroys the place with his robot and stands in front of Shu, so Shu escapes quickly, so Daryl throws cables at him that grab the person and follow the light, so Shu hits them and destroys it. So Daryl sends the cables again at Shu, but at the same time, Yahiro brother stands up on his feet, as if he is resisting the virus, but the virus makes a strong light, and this in turn makes the cables that Daryl sent go toward him, and grab him and smash him into the ceiling, so Shu runs to him to save him. But suddenly the disease transfers through the cables to Daryl robot, and all the disease is pulled from Yahiro brother, and the robot is infected with the virus. So Daryl starts losing control of it, and the robot starts acting like a living being. So two of the government robots go to it, so the infected robot leaves Yahiro brother so he falls hard on the ground, so Shu goes to him to check on him, and asks himself what will I tell Yahiro now. At the same time Seaguy asks himself, did the virus cause a genetic malfunction in the robot? That means the one there is Yahiro brother, so Daryl tries to control the robot again, but it is useless, so Yahiro brother destroys the government robots through the robot he controlled, and approaches Shu, but he does not want him and wants Yahiro, and he approaches him and grabs him hard to kill him, so Shu stands up and runs to him quickly, and stabs him with Yahiro void. so Shu moves to another world, and asks himself, is this the Roppongi area? Is this before the National Day incident? So Yahiro brother replies to him, yes, finally we were able to talk, so Shu hears G voice from afar, and when he looks there, he finds Yahiro and his brother while they are still young, and Yahiro gives his brother a watch as a birthday gift. So Yahiro brother tells Shu at that time, this was the happiest time in my life, before the National Day incident. I want to die now and take this happy memory with me, and suddenly he asks Shu to use Yahiro Void and kill him with it. So Shu is shocked, and Yahiro brother continues his talk. My brother Void is the life cutter. This Void is what will make my body rest. The virus took my freedom, and gave me the ability to see people Void. I saw a bad side of my brother other than what he showed me. I saw bad sides of many good people. If I keep living, this sadness will control me, and it will end with me hating my brother. I want to die while I love my brother. Suddenly a strong explosion happens, so Shu says this is the National Day incident. So Yahiro brother asks Shu to kill him quickly, because at this rate he will kill his brother. So Shu pulls out Yahiro Void and cuts his life with it. So Yahiro brother thanks him, and we return to our world again, and Yahiro brother controlling the robot suffers until death, and after that Yahiro wakes up from sleep. So he asks Shu, where are we, and where is my brother? So Shu replies, your brother died, and goes to him and gives him his brother watch, and tells him, and I am the one who killed him. After a period of time, the Undertakers prepare for a new operation, and they are waiting for the truck that has the rock in order to steal it. After Guy explains the plan to them exactly, and Shu is required to pull Inori Void to stop the truck, but Shu is afraid because of what happened with Yahiro brother, and after a while Tsugumi gives them permission to start the operation at the right time. So Inori lets herself so Shu can pull the void from her, but when Shu comes to pull it he remembers Yahiro brother, so he retreats again and cannot use it. So the group members call out to him, and tell him, where are you? Come on, hurry, there is no time. So Inori holds his hands to calm him down, but Shu remembers Yahiro and his brother again, and he screams and runs away. So Guy orders the whole group to retreat and they lose the mission. And on the next day in Shu's secret hideout, Shu sees strange dreams, and they are the National Day incident. So Shu wakes up from sleep startled, and he takes out his phone and finds many messages and calls from Inori. So his friend Hare enters to him, while holding food for him in her hands, and asks him, how are you now? You surprised me a lot when I found you sent me that you want my help. Do you not want to tell me anything? Why do you not want to go back home then? But Shu stays silent and does not talk, and suddenly his phone rings, and it is Inori calling him to check on him, but Shu does not answer her. And on the other side, Guy talks to Inori and tells her to leave Shu alone for a while, and Guy goes to meet Kuhin. So Kuhin asks him, why are you fighting the government? So he replies, because of a woman. There is a special woman I want to reach. So Kuhin is shocked and then laughs, and tells him saving Japan is just a means so you can save your woman. Anyway, the rock will arrive to the place I told you about after tomorrow. It seems Yan wants to move it to a far place. This rock must be with us at any cost. At the same time, Yan holds the rock, and tells his assistant, who would have known that the rock that all countries are fighting over, would fall into my hands, and the unknown person who stole it is Kido, but why did he not escape and stayed here? And we return to Shu again, who finally decides to return to school, so Hare welcomes him, so Shu asks her, did Inori not come to school today? But Soda interrupts their talk, who is happy that Shu came back again, and Soda comes close to him to greet him. But Shu remembers what happened with Yahiro brother, so he gets scared and steps back, so he bumps into a female classmate coming from behind him, so Shu sees nightmares and starts screaming. So Hare takes him and gets him outside the school so he can rest, and tells him that she will go get him some water. So Is welcomes him, and asks him what is wrong with you. So he tells her, I am done and I want to withdraw. So she replies, you want to leave everything and go, because you could not save a boy sick with cancer. So he tells her, I thought I could become Guy, but I discovered that I will remain myself forever and will not change. So Is grabs him hard, and tells him, I cannot believe you reached this stage, and suddenly Guy appears in front of them, and tells Is there is no need for this talk now. And Guy pulls out his gun and points it at Shu, and tells him, now we know where the rock that started the virus is, come on, come with us. So Shu replies to him, I have nothing to do with this matter. I did not want to take this king power from the beginning. I do not want it again. So Guy tells him, I heard that you can separate the void genome from the person by killing him. I want to try that, and suddenly Guy shoots at him with the gun, but he shoots the bullet next to him, and tells him, you are now a dead person to me. I do not want to see your face again. So Is shouts at Shu, and tells him, you are a coward, I was stupid to think you were one of us, and at the same time Hare is hiding and listening to all the talk that happened between Shu and Guy. After that Shu goes home and he is surprised that Inori is still there, so Inori goes to him and gives him her new song, but when she gets close to him Shu sees his nightmares, so Shu hits her and tells her, you monster, and the song falls from her and breaks. So Inori leaves while she is sad, so Shu tries to apologize to her, but she tells him that this is not important now, and Inori says goodbye to him with tears and leaves. After that the Undertakers prepare for the operation to steal the rock, so Inori goes to Guy and asks him, am I a monster? So he replies, Shu is the one who told you that, right? So Inori asks him again, do I love Shu? So he tells her, stay alive first, and then we will think about this matter later. And on the other side, Haruka stands in front of the imprisoned Kido, and asks him, what did you do? How did you use Shu father card and steal the rock? and on top of all that you gave it to General Yan. So he tells her I saw someone you know very well on that island. And it seems he matured a lot, so Haruka is surprised and tells him not to involve Shu in this matter. So he replies unfortunately it is too late, Shu has the king power. So Haruka is shocked and asks him Shu has the void genome. So he tells her and not only that, he is also in the Undertakers, even Inori that you met. Did you not ask yourself why a girl with that look and that appearance stands next to him and helps him? And we return to Guy again, and Guy gives the signal to start the operation. So Tsugumi tells him that there are surveillance cameras she cannot hack. So she warns them. So Guy informs the group that he will reach the plane that has the rock within 30 minutes, and asks them to provide support for him during that time. At the same time General Yan arrives at the rock delivery area, and asks his assistant is the plane that will take the rock ready. So he replies yes, it is also under Seaguy protection, so Seaguy goes to the control room, and switches from one surveillance camera to another, and he manages to see the Undertakers storming the place, and Seaguy calls the government soldiers, and orders them to take the vaccine quickly. And on the other side, Guy storms the plane that has the rock, and waits until it moves, but Guy feels that something is wrong, because the plane is very quiet, and as soon as it moves, Guy blows up its door and enters the control room, but he is surprised when he finds no one on the plane, not even the rock they want. So Seaguy laughs at him, and says finally you fell into the trap, and Seaguy plays a strange sound tone, and suddenly the rock activates, and spreads the disease everywhere, and while Guy tries to control the plane, virus signs appear on him, so Shibungi is surprised when he hears that tone, and says how did Seaguy activate the rock, and suddenly one of the group members screams, because the disease spreads through his whole body, and the government fires cannons at them. And on the other side, Shu is sitting with his friend Hare, and tries to get close to her a little, but Hare hits him with the pen and stands up quickly. So Shu tries to apologize to her, so she tells him do not try to make me a substitute for Inori, did your new power make you not see yourself? So Shu is shocked, and Hare continues her talk I saw everything. I saw you while you pulled something like scissors from Yahiro heart, and you were able to destroy the government robot with it. I felt regret toward you, and I was trying to make you happy in any way. But you are no longer the Shu I know, and suddenly they hear the sound tone, so Shu holds his heart and feels a strange sensation, and says this is the same feeling as the National Day incident. At the same time, Kido assistant goes to free him, while Haruka is talking to him, and after that they go up to the building roof. So Haruka asks him what are you doing? So he replies I want the future of humanity, come on let us end what happened in the National Day incident. So all people start getting infected with the disease. After a short while, Inori hears the sound of G scream coming from Guy, so she quickly goes to him to check on him, but she is shocked by the spread of the disease in Guy body, and she becomes very confused and does not know what to do. With the virus spreading among everyone, Daryl goes to General Yan and storms his place, and shoots him to kill him, so Kido calls the soldiers, and tells them unfortunately General Yan died tragically because of a terrorist attack on him, and according to military laws and as the highest rank currently, I will appoint myself as the leader of the country, so I can destroy the terrorists who carried out a viral attack on the entire state. So Seaguy enters with Haruka and points the gun at her and tells her we need your help greatly, but suddenly one of the infected officials stands up from the ground and hits Seaguy, so Haruka takes advantage of what happened and escapes, so Kido points the gun at her but decides not to shoot her, so that official tells Seaguy how dare you point the gun at your master, so Seaguy tells him this talk is too late, and pulls out his gun and shoots him. On the other side, Shu hears on the news that the terrorist group calling itself the Undertakers carried out a large-scale attack using the virus, so Shu says this is not true, it is impossible that the Undertakers would do this, and suddenly Inori robot comes to him, and Tsugumi speaks to him through it, and tells him what do you think now, we suffered a humiliating loss because of you, I cannot even reach Inori or Guy, and at this rate we will all die, and all of this is because of you, because you did not use Inori Void and left us and walked away. After that Shu calls the school students from the broadcast room, and tells them I want the students whose names I will call now to come meet me. I know the time is not suitable, but there is an emergency matter, and he tells himself I will use their void to save Inori and Guy. I do not know if I can do it or not, but I have no other choice. At the same time, Kido assistant sees Guy trying to escape with Inori, and also sees the disintegration of the Undertaker's unit, whose members are now in different places with no connection. So the assistant asks about Kido, and one of those present answers he probably reached Roppongi with Seaguy now. On the other side, Kido and Seaguy go to the Undertaker's headquarters, and since all the group members are outside the headquarters, Seaguy and Kido enter very easily, and place the rock in the middle of the headquarters, so the rock activates and opens a gate for them. Because they want to awaken a girl named Mana again, and this girl is the one who caused the virus to spread. We return to Shu again, and at that time his friends arrive at his hideout, so Soda asks him what do you want at a time like this? So he replies I want to go to the virus outbreak area, because there are people there I want to save, but I cannot do it alone. That is why I thought you could help me. So Yahiro suddenly enters and asks him do you want to use people like tools again? So Arisa asks Shu I want to understand what does it mean to use people as tools, and then who do you want to save anyway? Do not tell me it is Inori, so Shu asks himself what would Guy have done at a time like this, would he act alone? Or would he try to take people's opinions first? Would he deceive them to do what he wants? Or would he impose his orders? So Shu stands up and tells Hare I will do something hidden right now, and he gets close to her and pulls her void, which turns out to be a bandage. So his friend asks what happened to Hare. So he replies, do not worry, she will wake up when I return the void. Anyway, what I am holding in my hand is called a void, and it represents the form of a person heart, and it differs from one person to another. And after that Shu heals the infected Inori robot, so all his friends are shocked, and after Shu returns the void, Hare wakes up again. So Yahiro tells him you forgot to say that you want to use the void to help the terrorists. So Shu replies yes. I am going to save Guy and Inori and all the Undertaker's members. So Yahiro asks him why do you want to save people like that, when you could not save my brother? So Shu tells him without the Undertakers I am a meaningless person, and now they are in trouble and I am supposed to save them. That is why I ask you to help me. So they all agree to join him. On the other side, Inori and Guy run trying to save the situation, but Guy falls away from Inori while running because of the disease, so Inori goes to him to check on him, and tells him endure a little I can stop this spread, so he replies the time is over, so she tells him no, if I can sing my song I will stop this spread, and suddenly Inori hears G voice coming to them, so she jumps at him quickly without thinking, but she realizes it is Haruka Shu mother, so Inori asks her worried where is Shu, is he not with you? So Inori shakes her head no, so Guy tells her Shu you will find him at school, he refused to come with us, but Inori says Shu will come save us, I am sure of that. At night, Guy tries to fight with all his strength, but he is exhausted and cannot continue anymore, so Inori goes up to the roof to prepare to sing the song that will stop the virus spread, and asks herself will Shu really come and save us? So Haruka tries to hack the system so Inori can sing through the speakers, and after a while, Haruka gives Inori permission to sing. So Inori starts singing and the medicine spreads among people and stops the disease spread in people's bodies, and the song even heals Guy a bit and also stops the rock activation, and at the same time, Shu is watching from a car with his friends heading toward Inori and Guy. But a group of soldiers open fire on them on the road, so Shu uses Arisa Void to block their attacks, and they break through the ambush the soldiers made. So a plane loaded with missiles is sent after them, and it fires a rocket in the middle of the bridge and breaks it, so Shu quickly uses Hare Void to repair it, and manages to cross it, so a group of government robots chase them. But unfortunately Shu and his friends face a closed gate and cannot escape from the robots, so Shu uses Soda Void and manages to open the gate. So Daryl hears that they cannot stop the intruder that appeared, so he asks them how can you not stop one trivial car? And Daryl takes his robot and moves toward them, and while the car tries to reach Inori, Daryl appears behind them and hits the car and throws it away, so Shu pulls Yahiro Void, and comes out of the wreckage and jumps on Daryl and destroys him. Finally Shu reaches Inori and gets close to her, but suddenly a strange person appears behind her named Yu, and he has strange abilities, and he pulls Inori Void from her, and when Inori stops singing, the rock activates again, and the disease spreads everywhere, so Shu tries to reach her, but that person hits him and throws him away, and pulls out Inori's sword and strikes him with it. But Guy saves Shu and takes the hit instead, so Shu asks him why did you do that? So Guy tells him I could not leave you. While Guy is bleeding, Shu remembers things from the past, and tells him do not tell me that you are the girl we met 10 years ago, so he replies finally you remembered, so Shu is shocked. On the other side, Kido gives Seaguy information about the Void genome, and tells him this way I have fulfilled my promise to you, take it and leave now, I appreciate your cooperation with me, but now the situation has changed. We return to Guy and Shu again, and Yu tells him Kido worked hard, so I decided to cooperate with him, and Yu takes Inori and escapes through a gate he created himself, so Guy tells Shu go after him quickly, because they want to sacrifice Inori to awaken mana, so Shu runs fast before the gate closes, and asks him where are you taking Inori, and at the last moment Shu enters the gate. So Yu tells him since you really want to come with us, then you must remember everything first, all of mana memories that you locked inside yourself. And suddenly Shu is thrown away after a move from Yu. We return to the past about 10 years ago, before the national holiday incident, and Shu is standing with his sister Mana, and while they are standing watching nature, they see a small boy on the shore covered in bruises, so they quickly go to him to check on him, and that small boy is Guy, and suddenly Guy wakes up, so Shu asks him are you okay? Can you hear me? I am Shu and this is my sister Mana, who are you? But Guy does not remember anything, so Mana gives him the name Guy. After that they take Guy to their home, and from then on he became their only friend. But in the year when the national holiday incident happened, that was the last time they were happy together, and during that time Guy was Shu's closest friend, in addition to the presence of his sister whom he loved very much. We return to the present again, and Shu asks himself why did I forget all of this? Why did I forget Guy and Mina? And suddenly the place where Shu is standing transforms, and he sees Inori tied up with Kido beside her, and suddenly things come out of the ground and grab Shu, so Shu asks what are you doing? Bring Inori back. So he tells him this girl was only a body that we created to communicate with Mana, because Mana was the first person to touch the rock that started everything, and she was the first person to be infected with the virus, and thanks to our efforts we will be able to bring her back to our world once again. Because if we bring her back, the national holiday incident will happen again, and this time the virus will spread around the world. Stay away and do not interfere. So Shu tries to move, but suddenly Shu is restrained by something like crystals, and Yu appears and tells him do not interfere at all, because Kido is about to marry Mana through Inori, and thus he will become the father of the new generation of humanity. I want you to congratulate them in the future. Shu remembers the past, and he is sitting alone with Mana, and she asks him if I marry someone will you be lonely. So he asks her someone like who. So she replies anyone like Guy for example, so Shu is surprised, and Mana continues I am joking with you, I would never marry that person, what do you think about you marrying me? I love you, promise me that you will marry me when you grow up, and suddenly signs of the disease appear on Mana. At night, Guy stands in front of Mana, and asks her what is happening to you, is the disease from the rock right? I heard it makes people go insane, what do you want to do to Shu? So Mana grabs her face and screams, and after that she ties up Guy, and tells him I am the one who brought you back to life. And that means you belong to me, and I can do whatever I want with you, I will bind my life to Shu, and I will not let anyone stand in my way. We return to the present again, and Kido grabs the knife and cuts his finger to draw blood, and puts it on Inori's mouth, so Shu is shocked and then becomes angry, and suddenly many eyes appear in front of him, and they tell him you have no right to be angry, you ran away from me before, I was in front of you back then, so the crystals grab him and restrain him, and the eye continues speaking, do you not remember anything? I will punish you for your forgetting. And from that eye a sharp crystal comes out and heads towards Shu Ai. But suddenly Ayas storms the place and saves Shu at the last moment, and she is also holding Guy, so she tells him Guy I will never leave you alone. So Shu asks her what about your wound? So she tells him do not worry, the injury was superficial. So Kido tells Guy you are too late, and fate can never be changed, so Guy shoots at him with his gun, but the crystal eyes block it, so Guy orders Shu to run, so Shu runs but the crystal eyes catch up to him, so Ayas rushes quickly and takes the hit in his place, so Guy orders Sugumi to get Ayas out of her position quickly, and suddenly the crystal eyes surround them, and at the same time, the wedding ring ritual of Mana and Kido ends, and a connection happens between Kido and Inori, so Guy tells Shu you must remember what happened on the national holiday day. So Shu remembers the past again, on the national holiday day and before the incident happened. At that time Guy told Shu that he wanted to talk to him about Mana, but the one who came was Mana instead of Shu, and she goes to Guy and gives him a gift. When he opens it he finds a gun, so Mana tells him I consider you my knight, so you must protect me, I want you to aim at that star over there. So Guy holds the gun and shoots at it. But the gun is broken, and the bullet hits him instead, so Mana goes to him and tells him I told you before that I love you, but that was a lie, and Mana takes some of Guy's blood and puts it on her mouth, and suddenly Shu enters, and rushes to Guy to check on him, and asks him what happened. While he is checking on him, Mana forms a shape with threads and tells Shu to come take her, and tells him come let us use our genes to create a new world, and Mana gets close to him, and Shu sees signs of the disease on her, so Shu pushes her away, and tells her stay away from me you monster, so Mana cries and screams loudly, and suddenly an explosion happens in the place they are in, so Mana apologizes to him, and tells him at this rate I will become a different person, and suddenly Mana explodes in a huge explosion, and the disease spreads throughout the entire country, because of her, and after that incident, Guy tells Shu I will become stronger, and leaves him and walks away. We return to the present again, and Shu says I was protecting myself by forgetting, so Guy replies finally you remembered everything, but now there is something we must do. We must get rid of Mana, they awakened her against her will, so we must put her back to sleep again. Use the power of the void to return everything to normal. Suddenly all the crystal eyes surrounding them are destroyed, so Guy tells him time is running out, pull my void and give it to me, and he gets close and holds his hand, and continues pull the void without letting go of my hand at all, so Shu puts his hand into Guy's heart and pulls out the void, and then gives it back to Guy and Guy orders Shu to run from here, and support him when he goes to Mina. At the same time, Kido puts the ring on Inori, so Shu calls out to Inori, so the eyes turn to him and ask who are you calling, so Guy strikes Inori with his void so her void comes out of her, so Kido is shocked, and asks is my void forcing people voids to come out, so Shu runs quickly to Inori, and takes her void and frees her, so Guy runs quickly toward Mana, so Kido tries to stop him, but he is surprised to find Yu standing in front of him, and tells him stay where you are, your role is over now, and puts his finger on him and kills him. On the other side, Guy finally reaches Mana, but suddenly sharp crystals come out of her and pierce him, so Shu fears for Guy, so Guy tells him stab Mana using the void through me, so Shu is shocked and Guy continues I am dead in both cases anyway, come on quickly there is no time, so Shu cries and runs to Guy and pierces him with Inori void and kills both him and Mana. So the entire place is destroyed and Shu takes Inori and leaves the place quickly, and after a while Shu is carrying Inori and crying, so Inori wakes up and wipes his tears and tells him I am sure Guy is happy now, I can hear him saying thank you, so they both cry.